Cafe. All right, so welcome back here to the Winter Fancy Food Show. We're here on a day 2 and continue our live coverage of an amazing show. We've got a lot of people here, of course, exploring a crazy amount of new innovations. And speaking of new innovation, I've got Henry Hu with Cafe X. Now, Cafe X is not a company you would think. It's not a cafe. It's actually a coffee concept. And Henry, tell us a little about how you kind of got going in the business, and welcome.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So Cafe X is a startup in San Francisco, and we build robotic coffee bars. So we have 3 locations in San Francisco. Each of the locations are, we have a machine there that has a robot arm that's serving coffee.
Right.
And we have a staff member there we call a coffee bar specialist. That's kind of like someone that works in a retail store and does customer service and tells people about the different coffee beans that we offer and helps them figure out how the thing works. And then basically the problem we're trying to solve is, people will spend 15 minutes regularly waiting in line for coffee, and they'll pay like $5 or $6. And it's just not a very consistent, it's not a very great experience. It's
definitely some pain points there, for sure.
It feels very dated.
Right.
And so I came up with this idea just after observing that and watching, especially in like the big coffee chains, what most of the baristas are doing are just shuffling cups, and they're pushing buttons on essentially already automated machines.
Right.
So with Cafe X, we use a robot arm that's designed to do repetitive, sort of boring tasks over and over again.
Okay.
So we make drinks really quickly, really consistently, and we're able to have lower prices. And then we have our staff members that are still there, but their job is to interact with our customers and explain the menu and help them out, rather than standing behind a counter, essentially kind of working like a robot.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the pain points were the whole line approach, that kind of thing with coffee shops. In terms of the process for the technology itself, what was your background? Do you have robotics in your background, or?
No, actually, it's just all kind of figured out.
Came together.
Yeah. Okay. So initially, just call a bunch of robot companies and coffee machine companies, try to learn things. But now we have obviously a really great team of hardware, software engineers, designers, and then about half of our company is the operations team. So they run the locations.
Great. So the idea is for the concept of Cafe X being building both the hardware and the equipment and the technology to run the facilities, but also, are you thinking about licensing this out, or is it something that you want to kind of grow on a company-owned basis?
Yeah, we've got a lot of requests for licensing and franchising, both in the U.S. and internationally. It's definitely something that we're interested in potentially doing in the future. For now, we are we're focused on owning and operating the locations. Because our machine, or the robotic coffee bar, it's a manufactured product. So as we get the production rolling, we'll be able to do some different models.
So so obviously coffee is a very personalized thing. People like different flavors, different types, different from a latte to Americano, whatever it might be. A lot of variations there. How do you guys deal with that in terms of the menu from the robot, building a cup of coffee for someone?
Yeah. So if you look at a video or a photo of our machine, you'll notice there's a robot arm in the center, and it's surrounded by coffee machines and other types of equipment. So in our latest machine, we have an ice dispenser in there, so we'll be able to make ice drinks. We have actually beer taps. So we're not serving beer yet, but nitro cold brew coffee, cold brew teas, cold brew coffee, kombucha,
nice.
All these things. And the overall idea is we have the different food equipment inside, and then we use the robot arm to move the cup around to the different pieces of equipment build a drink. So there's actually a pretty big menu beyond just espresso drinks. So we have 4 espresso beans, but you can also get matcha beverages or chocolate beverages. And so there's actually quite a lot of options.
Interesting. All right, so you came up with the robotics aspect of the business. the kind of the model. Kind of walk us through for our viewers and our listeners how the stores are set up. Maybe someone hasn't seen a Cafe X.
Sure.
So it's part robot. You've got a person there though, right?
Yeah.
As an attendant type thing. If someone wants to engage with that, they're coming up and they're actually, kind of inputting their own order, right?
Yeah.
And how fast is that process?
Yeah, so there's two ways to order. Well, first of all, when you walk into one of our locations, you'll be greeted by a very friendly coffee bar specialist.
Okay.
We actually have a location across the street at Metreon. So there's about 50% of our customers already have our mobile app. So they just push a button,
so
walk in the store.
Yeah.
And the drink's actually prepared before they get there. So it's literally like walk in, 10 seconds, grab your drink, and walk out. And then the other half are like the new customers, the tourists, people who just want to check it out.
Yep.
And for those customers, we have little kiosks in the machine.
Okay.
And we have multiple kiosks. And actually, each kiosk is modular. So it's unlikely you'll be in a scenario where you're like, first you're waiting in a line to order, which is what you do now at a cafe. Then you wait in another line for your drink to be made.
Yeah.
So we don't really have a line for ordering because we just add more kiosks so people can order, and then also the mobile ordering side. And then for picking up your drink, our machine has 3 pickup points. We call them delivery bays.
Okay.
So it's really designed for like high traffic. If you have 3 people that walk up to the machine, all 3 of them can pick up their drinks like really quickly.
Okay. So you've solved that problem. Curious on what's the production capacity on one of these machines, say in an hour?
It really depends on what people order. So to make like an espresso drink, you don't want to speed that up too much because then you'll
process
reduce. The quality of the espresso won't be as good. So we actually take our time with each drink.
Okay.
So an espresso drink takes about 45 seconds, maybe a minute.
All right.
The ice drinks are a bit faster because we're just dispensing cold milk instead of steaming the milk.
So you can really churn out some drinks then. That's a good volume.
Our current machine that's at One Bush Street that makes 3 drinks in less than a minute.
All right.
Because we have the tap in the center, and then we have 2 coffee machines, so that all 3 of those pieces of equipment can be making drinks at the same time.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're going to add more in the future, so it'll be even faster.
So tell us a little bit about how you guys partnered with some specialty coffee products and companies. What was kind of your strategy going in that direction?
From the beginning, I think basically I was like, okay, if we can't serve good quality coffee, or if the coffee doesn't taste good, all of this is useless.
Yeah.
So I went basically straight to all the best local coffee roasters and asked if they'd be interested in working with us. So currently we work with Equator, with Ritual Coffee, and also with Intelligentsia.
Okay.
So they're super, super awesome.
Yeah, that's a good brand.
Yeah, and we offer blends. We offer single origins, so people can select different beans on the menu based on different price points, and they can like read about the different flavor profiles. If a customer has never tried, these beans, they can actually come into the store and be like, "Can I try a flight of espresso?" We'll be happy to make it for you.
Okay.
Try, the different beans.
So that gives a lot of variety in offerings there for your store.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you've got a variety of menus, variety of bean offerings, So how would this potentially be for you in the future of integrating a Cafe X module in maybe an Intelligentsia store? Anything like that in the works?
Not in the works, but it's definitely something that seems quite logical. It's like our machine, it's really good at making beverages, but it doesn't make food. It doesn't currently serve any food automatically. So I think in sort of a store within a store concept, that could work.
Yeah. We're seeing more and more of that, like in food court applications, where you're seeing brands going into other brands, almost like micro components.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the human aspect. So obviously, most coffee bars, you've got the barista there. There's a bit of engagement going on. In some cases, good. Some cases, not so good. How do you guys kind of combat that, the human connection in a coffee bar?
So I think the human connection interaction with someone who knows a lot about coffee is really a key part of a specialty coffee experience.
Right.
And so, basically we looked at like, okay, what makes a really good barista? And a good barista, is very consistent.
Yeah.
Is basically good at, they dial in the recipe and then they can basically repeat it perfectly every single time.
I love it.
And that's exactly what machines are good for.
Yes.
And so that's basically how we treat our machines. We program the recipes. We spend hours and hours dialing in all the recipes to make sure they're perfect, and then they're saved in there. And then we still adjust them from time to time.
Very cool.
And then we use our staff to be sort of front of the house, like in a retail store. Like if you go into like a luxury goods store or like an Apple store, for example, or like a Tesla showroom.
Okay.
The staff is there to educate you about the products, answer any questions.
Right.
Give you a demo, and that's kind of what our staff do.
Yeah, very cool.
Which is what humans are better at.
Exactly. All right, so kind of the future for where Cafe X is going. What do you guys have in plan? New locations, new products?
So
what's going on there?
Yeah, we're launching more locations in the Bay Area this year. We are considering expanding to our second city.
Okay.
And potentially something international as well.
Very cool.
And then on the kind of product development side, because we have a lot of hardware and software engineers, we're going to continue expanding the menu using this concept that we have of a robot arm in the middle and a bunch of food equipment surrounding it for the robot to operate.
Very interesting.
So you'll see our menu kind of get more interesting over time.
Very cool. I like that. That's and automation is definitely something that's on the horizon in food service. So congrats to what you guys are doing over at Cafe X.
Thank you.
Thanks again for stopping in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great meeting you.
Thank you.
All right. So make sure and stay tuned right here as we continue our coverage of the Winter Fancy Food Show. We will catch you on the next episode.